Morning, the E5 board meeting of Tuesday, October 21st.
Patty Chuck. Here. For a couple of minutes.
Here.
Patty Parker.
Here.
Dale Olson.
Here.
Charles Kimball.
Here. And staff.
Kyle Ruther,
Wendy McKay.
Mark Kramer.
Oh, the Virgin. Ellie Strange. Sarah Klein.
Rob Courier. Doug Barry. Rob Roder. Thank you. Anyone online?
nobody online. Maybe they'll come to our public hearing.
Any agenda timeline changes?
Nope.
Moving right along.
We did, actually, I'm sorry, we inadvertently left off the outside meeting report, so we'll do that just after the president's report, if you have anything to add in there. That's hopefully right, that's hopefully an item right underneath the president's report.
Who said this? Yeah, I'm just gonna bust it anyways.
Shouldn't change anything else.
We're just setting-
Yours is correct on there.
She updated yours, it was just a one-on-one. Probably shouldn't have said anything.
We're late on the play. Use. Okay, deferred items,
Plus,
any public comment?
Everybody.
Treasurer's report,
okay. See what last year.
Keep it short today. So the first item Kyle talked about last month during his GM report, which is the building security upgrade that we have planned and have made a significant deposit on security monitor to the tune of a little less than $124,000.
holy, what was the total of that gonna be?
I think that's
That-
half. the down
That's about
payment.
half.
Yeah.
What are we gonna get for that? We're gonna have cameras everywhere.
It's gonna replace everything, so you'll get new fobs, we'll have new cameras, we'll have new monitoring, so.
Just like flock.
So,
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be a major upgrade compared to what we have.
Have you guys had any issues with people trying to get in or security issues? Oh,
So generally over the years, yes, I mean, it's helped a lot that we have the fencing out right now, the landscaping. I think the problem is our current system is just getting out of date, so we don't know what we don't know kind of thing. It also-
It's really old technology. A lot of the
right,
hardware is starting to fail and it's difficult to get spare parts for it.
getting old, it's tough.
And plus the other thing is people have a certain expectation for what a security system, modern security system provides. We don't provide it.
Thank you.
All right, item number 154, Tantalus for $79,000 and change is for 1,000 meter modules. And what my understanding is that this will allow us to rebuild meters rather than doing a total replacement. So we'll be replacing the module inside the meter. And that should result in some savings for us.
that's pretty, $80 a piece. Must be a chip or something.
Yeah.
I mean, what it
It's
is.
a little microchip, yeah.
I should have tried to see if I could bring one in.
The brains.
Okay, the bridge. There's a picture of the bridge.
Let me go back. There it is.
Okay,
So the pictures that are in the board packet, or I guess there ended up only being one, was a progress picture. They were still working on it, but now it's done. So you can see a picture of the final product.
What did they deck that with? Wood. Kidding. Correct.
It looks like
weatherproof.
Would I think we also put some non-skid stuff on it also, so great thing about that, come free prefab. Also engineered drawings for all the footings and price was great, so it's done. And the other one was completely falling apart.
You have to get a permit. Go across that, of course. Absolutely. Oh, yeah,
We built in place.
I'll hand it over to you, Dale.
I've just got two questions. One on item 62, substation mowing. My question is that for all the substations?
Yeah, that's one in Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much to do all.
So it's not all the substations, but all the ones that need mowing. They don't all need mowing.
The only come to my mind is the fact that we have the best mowing crew on the company, we're hiring it out. Well, we got a mowers, hiring guys.
Well, so you coordinate them being there along with the treating that we do inside the sub, because you want to have those coordinated. Yeah, I guess we can use our own guys, but it takes them away from what they're doing then, and they've got to, move all their equipment around. And Franklin's really efficient at this too.
Yeah.
Franklin also, by the way, does some site work at field reclosers, regulators and switches. So we have access.
Still doing that like we did that for a while.
Yeah, they go around every year.
Oh, I got you.
Yep.
And the other question I got is way down at the bottom. It's the get there. It's customer refunds. There's three of them in here. I mean, it looks pretty much normal, and all of a sudden it jumps. There's three of them. $24,013. What are those three?
I'll have to check on those for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're going at $500, $200, and then we got three of them that are $25,000 a piece.
Um,
All on the 18th.
Imagine they're commercial.
Yeah, it could be
I
a
don't-
transformer, it could be anything, it could be like, what they
A refund?
paid for, what we charged them, I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
They just can't, it just stood out to me when I saw that. I don't
Check
know
on
what it
those
is.
for you.
It's a big jump.
Yeah,
Huge. 75 grand.
They're not electric, I don't think they're,
yeah,
but
they might
like
be-
customer paid electric refunds, I think it
Might
must
be.
be something else.
Maybe they paid us and the project didn't move forward or something. Does that happen?
It could
That
be,
does happen.
or it could even be an easement type of thing where
Yeah.
we had to pay for like out Junction City or Roseboro lumber or something like that.
It's not a pay market. I mean, you mean the customer paid it and we refunded the customer?
Yeah, we'll find out.
There's times we take prepayment for most of those jobs if it doesn't move forward.
Other than that, I don't have any questions.
I'll check on those. There's a time that they're gonna mislabel. I'll get back to you.
That one on Red Kite employment law, 23,000.
Yeah, that's our personnel attorney, and she also does a lot of training for us, so she tends to invoice infrequently, so it's usually a lot of work. And so I don't know how far back that goes.
Lots of multiple months, and
Yeah,
it did include leadership training, specific department training, and guidance and counseling on personnel.
Did you change the order?
Yes,
Cause usually the big bills are at the top.
yes, what do you think? It's in alphabetical order this time.
Yeah, it makes
Open
sense to
feedback.
me to have the big ones.
Yeah. Or-
You just want us to work, and you just checking on.
Checking on you. Were they actually looking at it?
Well, it'll be in dollar order next go around.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Easier.
There's a lot of manual work going on with this check register, so sorry about that.
What, don't you just click that column and say order by amount?
Well, it depends on how far along you are in the process, how
Mm.
much work that is.
Right.
We're a little shorthanded upstairs.
Well, it's all good. You do it however you want to do it.
Oh. Anyone else?
I'm good.
Right.
Dale's cool, mine. Did you see those numbers too? Thanks,
Sorry.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure out what those are. Those are big numbers.
store organization, Charles, you went to the NWPPA.
I did.
Or maybe you can update. Me.
Yep.
Lighting stuff.
Maybe the cliff notes on it. All board meeting was in Colorado Springs last week. We're spending more time closer to the Front Range because we're trying to attract more utilities out of Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico, and a little bit more on that later. We do our government relations committee meeting Thursday afternoon after we go through all the committee meetings in the morning and early afternoon. The Government Relations Committee meeting, they have a section for state reports where someone from a utility in the state reports out on the current state of politics in their particular state. That's always a really interesting feature of that meeting because you get a lot of different perspectives from folks and realize that other states have a lot of different issues than we do. If you're Washington, Oregon, or California, we know what our issues are, but in most of the other Western states, overreach by Democratic administrations is not as big a problem. Mike Collins with Wasco Electric did the Oregon report. And I thought he recapped it pretty well. We had a speaker, a guy by the name of Travis Erie, who is IBEW's Oregon Local 125 guy. He lives up in Salem. And it was a nice talk. Obviously, we don't care all that much about IBEW. But he did say that they have a joint operating committee with the IOUs all around the West. It's called LAMPAC. Have you heard of that? So one of his reasons to be there was that he's trying to get the COUs around the West interested in a similar kind of thing. So I don't know how well it was received. I talked to him afterwards and I told him that I already wasn't an IBEW fan from the helicopter business because they beat us out of so much work. But you know, we'll see if anybody's interested. I mean, how many organizations can you have? So the other thing that was interesting about the government relations committee meeting was that we're making major changes to the resolutions process. People were just kind of getting tired of how verbose those resolutions were. Too many data points, too much information in our legislative and regulatory people. Felt like it made it a little bit harder for them to focus on what they were trying to do. So they're gonna go back and strip that out and tear down a lot of those resolutions and come back with less of them and better focus for legislative and regulatory people on what those resolutions are actually supposed to accomplish. It's just kind of become an exercise and it's not really what we wanted to do. So, pretty much it for the government relations committee. Then we do the board meeting on Friday morning. It runs from 7 till noon. And we go through a lot of housekeeping kind of stuff, but Kurt in his executive director report, you know, we've been talking about a name change for NWPPA because they want better penetration in the Mountain West in particular and the Southwest. And they're convinced that we need to do it. But there obviously are technical issues that create some difficulty. For example, if we were just to change the name of it, we'd have to get a new charter and go through all the paperwork. And the attorney said the best way would be to do a DBA if you wanted to be WPPA, like the Western Public Power Association. That may be where it winds up, but they had also suggested that it would be great if we could keep the same acronym. So people are spinning their wheels trying to come up with, someone said the New Western Public Power Association or the Neo-Western, or yeah, we'll see where that goes. But it's a good idea, because we can have a bigger footprint.
Yeah.
I think NWPPA provides a different look for public power in the West. Both by virtue of the training that they do, and the amount of time that all of our people get to spend with people at other utilities through that. But I think we can do a better job, especially in the current environment, in influencing legislation both at the state level and at the federal level. So we have new, as I mentioned before, we have new legislative folks. We're not using McGuire Whitney anymore. We have Rick Desimone and his group up out of Washington, and they have been doing much better work with the western states and in representing NWPPA and the issues that we think are important to us. So they did their legislative wrap up, and they have a group headed to DC here shortly to do some lobbying for the Fix Our Forest Act. And I guess Oregon will be represented by Scott Cole from Lane. So, and then we also do the fall board meeting. We do the performance review for the executive director, and got the high marks and raise, and everybody's super happy with him. So, one side note I had in here during one of the bitch sessions, Lassen Municipal is still getting a pandemic hangover. They ordered a $6 million transformer from Brazil, and when it showed up, there was 3 million more on top because the tariffs from 6 to 9.
They didn't think of that?
One transformer.
Holy cow. They probably ordered it 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Ouch.
Anybody have any questions about NWPPA?
Thank you.
Okay. All yours, Kurt. Good report.
For training and development. This. One, for the future ones, hopefully our WAGA thing goes through. I'd like maybe. After the dust is settled, have an update from them on what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
I know we probably would anyway, but
Just
just
love to get in here. Yeah, we'll put that on the calendar.
sometime.
Late this year, early next year. Yeah, like I said in my update last week, that's looking a lot more positive, so soon we'll be able to get that in here and give us a happy update.
Once that all transpires, it could maybe hopefully go public and we'll
Yeah.
get questioned.
Yeah,
You know, what are you guys doing?
I think we should get in front of that and do our own.
So we have some
Yeah.
good answers or
Yeah,
any answers.
we should give that all to y'all, and we need to get out there with a public message on the whole thing too, why we're doing this, how it makes sense for our customers. We'll put that together.
Well, from my point of view, any conversation that I have, it's always gonna start.
Yeah.
That was the catalyst for this whole thing.
Well, it's come a long ways, I gotta say.
And now you look back, and this is kind of astonishing, but you look back, and if the county's line work falls apart, then there really wasn't a reduction in gas. We could have done what we wanted to do.
Actually, they've already accomplished it though.
Well, they know,
8%, they've reduced it.
not the
It's
way
only
they
been-
planned on it.
It's only going up in the air in diesel.
Right, the diesel in southern Oregon.
Right.
It's-
Just my opinion.
Should be an interesting political season over that issue. The shares are running.
Yes, indeed.
Any other outside meeting?
My only note was the upcoming all COU meeting after PPC's annual meeting. I need a head count to send out to the bill. Anybody knows?
Day is that?
I think it's November 6th.
So
on
that's
the-
the
it's on the
Thursday.
heels of the PPC.
Yes, right after PPC's morning meeting. This will be a lunch meeting, right?
I'll go.
Okay. Where's
Yeah.
Up there, Common.
Portland.
Yeah, it's at the embassies.
Embassy Suites, so it's a little PPCB. All of it, that'll be the open.
And the annual is well, that is after the annual.
After the annual PPC meeting, yeah.
Is that where the Pacific Power president's gonna be?
He's the next day, I believe, Peanut
Yeah.
on Friday, so
Yeah.
you can go up, you can see all that, yeah. Okay.
Quite a circus. Yeah, you had a whole bunch of clowns, the train line.
Keep an eye on Dina.
Right, so we got 3 or 4?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. Okay,
I think I will.
all right. We'll get that, that way, they'd have to order the food, so they want that.
We'll see how many of the other COUs show up there. See.
Well, hopefully they'll want them to talk, they usually do.
It was pretty lightly attended
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
But I would think that would improve. In fact, I'll probably reach out to Libby Calnon
Mhm.
and some of the Union people and encourage them to be there.
Yeah, I hope that they'll be there. Well, I think cap and trade will be the main topic. How do we get through that without harming ourselves? Looks like that's gonna be the main agenda item for not this session, but the long session. Year and a half or whatever.
How do we get through that without allowing ourselves? to do
Yeah,
that?
exactly. How do we be held harmless?
No,
Last time it's interesting because the CAUs were actually supportive of the proposal because we are long hydropower and cap and trade would raise the cost of that. So we would sell Bonneville supply and get more revenue, cap and trade in Oregon. I think it's a real fool's errand to try to forecast the long-term implications of a program like that. I think it just raises prices for everybody, so.
how's that working in Washington?
I don't think the consumers up there are doing real well. I don't know about
Do they know it?
well, they had a chance to get rid of it and they chose not to.
Yeah.
It was on their ballot.
Because they hadn't seen the power bill yet.
Yeah.
You got the same kind of politics we do, the center runs the whole state.
It's generating significant revenue, billions and millions of dollars. It's gonna be hard for it
State budget's still gazillion dollars behind.
People got the vote for them, right?
twice.
That doesn't happen here.
I mean, I guess it was once because it was a governor's initiative and they voted to repeal it and they rejected the appeal, so. You look at Oregon legislators, you know, were scrapping for cash and then they look up north and they're generating billions. It's gonna be pretty attractive to politicians. We'll try to keep ourselves out. All right.
Managers report.
Okay. Let's see, a few things to go through here. We got Carrie at 5, so we'll be working kind of along that timeline. Just, I've been sending out updates on the litigation over the hydro system. There's no good news here. I mean, this is all bad. So last week, just to kind of update everybody, the plaintiffs, including the state of Oregon, and then a bunch of environmental groups filed a number of motions. All of these are harmful for dam operations. They have to be approved by a judge, but if they do, there are significant impacts to our federal supply. Most of it has to do with increasing spill, so putting more water over the dam and operating it at minimal levels, so we can't really have the kind of flexibility we need to operate the system effectively. They're also asking for more spending on fish infrastructure, fish passage infrastructure, so. A lot that they're putting on the table here. This was looked at back in 2021 when there was a discussion around called the BIOP, the biological opinion on how to operate the system. And all of these proposals were rejected at that time as not meeting the best interest of fish or of our regional economy. So what they're proposing again, bringing out those old ideas, basically unconditioned spill at all hours. And not only could that reduce generation, it's also not helpful to fish in many ways. So
This is the same stuff they asked before, isn't it?
yeah.
So when I read it, I thought, what?
So the history here is, yeah, they went through a process of Bonneville or Bureau all participated in to figure out how are we going to run the system, and spent $55 million to develop this report that said, okay, we'll do it without breaching dams and with limited spill. The plaintiffs in this case didn't like that outcome, and so they were all going to court, and then. Yeah. There we go. Thanks, Patty. So they were in court fighting, and then we had the Biden administration come out with this big deal, the 1214 agreement in December of 23 that put all that on hold and said, we'll work together to figure this out. Now we've got a new administration that has thrown that agreement out. And so the plaintiffs are back in court saying we're going to push for all these old things that was said we wanted back in the day that were rejected previously. So spill's a huge one, loss of capability, and this is a nuanced thing that's hard to get across to people in public, but instead of having flexibility to operate differently downriver, so at John Day and the Dalles, all that is going to be pushed upriver. So the flexibility we have now is up at Grand Coulee and Chief Joe. And that has a big impact because as we try to shape generation to meet peak loads, there's just less available to do that. There's less megawatts that we can generate to flex up to peak demand. And of course, that's when the most expensive power is being produced. It also is just a loss of capacity, probably 800 megawatt hours in August from reduced spill. That's a new plant basically during major events of the summer. So big changes. They're framing this, the plaintiffs in public, as like, it's not that big a deal. They're overdoing it, but it's really hard to argue that this is going to have an impact to our costs and the way that we operate things.
And BPA is the primary vendor, right?
Yeah, because they're the operator. I mean, I think all the federal agencies are involved in this, but Bonneville's the primary.
Ninth Circuit, here we come.
Yeah, so I don't think they're friendly, unfortunately, to this. The judge has basically already shown his hand. He's granting everything the plaintiffs wanted. The argument last week was that, well, the government's not even open. How can we be having this discussion around operations? He was like, well, they'll figure it out. Don't worry. So I don't think the judge is going to be.
We know they're going to judge shop.
Yeah, well, they've got it. This judge has a history of supporting everything.
Simon.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good result.
James Redden finally
He
retired.
finally left. Now we got this guy who's
You knock him out there.
he's 80 some years old, still going.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, so just to give you a sense of what the regional groups are doing, you can probably see some of this. It has been pretty unified. They're trying to sound alarm, but they're also really having this like, let's talk, let's work with each other rather than going back to the courtroom. So if you see River Partners is out there urging regional leaders to reject renewed litigation and work together. PPC says urges return to settlement talks, and then NWPPA, now's the time for discussion and consensus building, not litigation. I don't think that's going to work. So I know they're behind the scenes gearing up for a bigger fight. It's probably going to be, at least publicly, they're trying to kind of win the PR battle by saying we're the reasonable ones. We want to talk. Instead, you guys go back. To bring this a little closer to home, we had an exec committee meeting for the Oputa GMs last week, and it was right after this had been announced that I think one of these motions had been filed. A good time to reflect on where we've been. So if you go back about a little over a year ago, we sat down with the governor's staff to discuss the hydro system and how it was being operated and what that 1214 agreement could do. And if you remember, we had the big dust up with the under Oregon COUs over that. They didn't like the fact that we were talking to the governor's office. We took a lot of heat for saying, we're going to sit down and take them at their word that they want to talk to us. So when this all happened, maybe for those of you that were at the Oputa annual meeting, you heard Mike say this, but we had an hour's notice. So,
Right.
we were told when we met with them before, we would have a seat at the table to talk about changes to the system and how this was operating. And instead, yeah, we got a notice an hour before that this is moving forward. A little more color there. Danelle and Mike kind of know the staff involved, and they basically stopped talking to them 100%. They seem completely bought into whatever the environmental folks are saying. They know that's where their constituency is, and that's where the voters are. And so it's very clear they're not looking for input from us on this issue. So, I'm not saying we throw our hands up and stop, but it seems very hopeless to try to keep talking to the governor at this point. Total bummer. Any other questions on that? Which I was leaving on a high note. That's a pretty sad thing. That's where we're at. We'll see where it goes.
Like I said, you know, they've used the courts to our disadvantage for decades.
Yeah,
It's time that we use the courts.
I hope we can do it. You know, when this discussion was all happening 6 months ago, the co-ops were the ones leading the charge to say, we're just gonna get this agreement thrown out. We were kind of urging caution at River Partners and some other places and saying, there's probably a more nuanced way to do this to keep the agreement, so we're not back in the courtroom, but just sort of like kill it within. That's not what happened. We threw the agreement out and now here we are again in court. So, the co-ops, I hope that they're seeing the big picture here. I don't know. They say we can go to the Supreme Court, get thrown out that way, but boy, that's a long road.
That's 10 cases, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know,
but it's the national route too.
Yeah.
yeah, I have to talk to Nicole Case. Some other
Yeah.
stuff with NWPP. I want to explore them a little bit
Yeah.
more there. She ought to have some insight into Oreca, shouldn't she?
Yeah, I would think.
I mean, she
Yeah.
sleeps with it.
Yeah, I would think so. So we'll see. Here's something a little more positive. So we've talked about our school education and making this a priority going into next year. We're actually gonna move on this, so Alicia and Christine have been working on a new program for elementary schools next year. This is something actually Patty brought to us a while back. So we're gonna try it with this nonprofit, the National Energy Foundation. They have kind of ready-made curriculum that they can use and either just give it to the teacher or they can come into the school and deliver it themselves with our help. So Alicia might talk a little bit about what this looks like, but they do a lot of work with other utilities throughout the state, a lot of IOUs will go into their districts to do this. So we thought we'd try them out. They'll focus on safety topics first, just to kind of get their feet wet in our territory. We're not sure which schools yet. We provided them a list of who we have in our district, but there's a lot of potential, I think, to try this out and see if it works. If we're not happy, they'll give us the materials in advance to review and we can veto them if we don't like whatever it says. But I think safety is obviously pretty safe, non-controversial to be able to get into. But you know, if we are not loving how they do it, we can use this as an opportunity to put our own staff in there too and get more involved. So Alicia's got a little bit more on this. I just say if you go to their website, there's some good stuff on there too. National Energy Foundation. They did a survey, I want to say a couple of years ago, and I think that's where we found this at APPA. You and I were in this together. But they looked at it was the high school age kids and what their knowledge was on energy concepts. And it wasn't pretty. I think it's declining. So if you look like year to year or every 5 years they do this, it went down like 6.4% is kind of the trend line. And then what I thought was interesting was the impact of social media here. So like they asked kids, where do you get energy information from? And you can just see the social media chart going up, the bar there going up every single year. So more and more kids are just whatever comes through their TikTok or their Instagram feed is where they're learning this stuff. So we've got to work that out for us.
I just read a report where there's only 16% of our population now that reads. I mean, sits down and reads.
Yeah.
I had the science teacher at Mohawk reach out to me last year about coming and doing a thing with this class on public power in general.
Okay.
And EPUD in particular.
Yeah.
And we never got around to doing it.
Okay.
Check in with him and see if he still wants to.
Yeah, I think we want to try a bunch of things. So this is sort of an off the shelf, ready-made thing. We can see if it's any good or not. But I think we can also look at what is the message we want to send from EPUD to support custom things like that. Anything else you want to cover on this?
Yeah, I would just add that they have multiple topics that they can cover. So there's electrical safety, there's energy efficiency, and then they do electric vehicles. The way that Christine and I wanted to approach it is for 2026 is use this as a test case, basically to see if we like what they can offer. And so we're going to be getting into the schools in the spring of 2026, like Kyle mentioned, and we're going to test out the two different types of way that they deliver the information. One's a live presentation and one's a teacher-led program. With the live presentation, they come in, they can do multiple classes at once, like an assembly kind of thing, but specifically targeted for the 4th grade. It would focus on safety. It would be anywhere from 35 minutes to 45 minutes. Super inexpensive to do these things. And so that could be one. And we would bring in an EPUD employee or employees to help make that training a little bit more effective, beneficial. Then we're going to test out the teacher-led one, which is they provide all the materials and guidance so the teacher can incorporate that into their lesson plans. That one's extremely inexpensive considering, but what's nice about this is the teacher-led one, they can build it anywhere from kindergarten through 12th grade. And the materials they provide match the level of knowledge that they think. And so if this is something that we wanted to commit to and continue to do each year, the students would start getting education early on at the younger age, and essentially each year they could be building on that education as they get older. So I have a sample of some of the materials here if you wanted to see. So like this little pamphlet here is an activity for the younger kids, and it's talking about just basic concept of electricity and its activities that they can be doing, and including little things like there's this little sheet that they go around their house and they have to look for anything unsafe, a little checklist on trying to find things out and apply what they're learning. Then they even have things like, this is just a map, they have a lot of these massive posters that give you information. They have everything from like what types of things in our communities the electricity provides, electric generation information. These are just tips about how to safety tips on in the home and outside the home. And then on the back for like the teacher-led materials and everything, they give them, thank you, Vanna. They give different activities and different things.
Good one.
Different activities for the kids to do. They give vocabulary, and again, all of these materials are adjusted to fit the age and knowledge of the students that they're teaching. So if you want to look at this, let me know. We have all kinds of examples, but really inexpensive, and it's nice because all the materials are put together. We're always open to going out and talking to classes even without this program in place. So Charles, we're happy to do that. Reaching out with other ones. The nice thing with this is materials are already there. So but we'll see. Again, the biggest thing is 2026 is going to be our test case to see if we like it. In the meantime, though, we can also be doing other things and seeing what we like and before we commit to any long-term plan.
Alicia, how do you approach the schools to present this to them? You go to the administration first or the?
CF does that as well. So I know, which is amazing. However, what Christina and I talked to them about is we want to utilize all the services that they provide, especially because it's so inexpensive and the materials and all of that. But we don't want to be so removed from the situation that they don't have a face and a connection with the schools. So even though NEF would be reaching out to get things set up, we want to be playing a part so we have a relationship with these schools as well. So we'll be doing that at the same time. And that's why we've asked specifically, we want to be at the presentations. We want to be a contact. We want to be in communication.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, I'm real advocate for this. However, having been involved in, school board, you have to get, I really feel for the teachers. They're so long minute by minute for the adopted curriculum.
Yeah.
So how we approach, you got to get buy-in
Yeah, that's a good point.
down, not to the teacher. I mean, most teachers would love to do this stuff, but the principal and
Yeah.
The administration.
and to allow them 15 minutes or because they take away 15 minutes of something else that they're required to, it might be on a state test.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do some outreach to the
So,
administrators.
yeah, I'm not sure,
Yeah, I would just
Good
add
point.
that the nice thing about utilizing NEF on this is they've actually are doing this for other utilities and working with other schools. So this is something that they're doing all the time. So I think they have an understanding of the challenges that you're describing and know how to navigate and work through that. But again, that's also where another reason why we don't want to be so far removed, though, that they're just working with NEF. We want to be able to
yeah,
modify our plan and all of that as well to accommodate
We
that.
should have a relationship.
Yeah.
I think I mean, even if we hit middle schoolers right now, they're gonna be out of school before we even know it.
Yeah, yeah.
In 5 years, they're gonna be
Yeah.
in college and still don't know anything.
Well, we'll give this a shot. I think there's many ways we can try to interact with the schools. This will be one, but if you have things like that, Charles, let us know how we can
Yeah,
help.
we're happy to.
More than happy.
Yeah,
Or some of the other utilities.
Oh, they're all over. I don't know if
Around
they're,
here?
you know, I don't know if
I
we have any of
I-
our existing
I think
ones.
Pacific, yeah.
Pacific, okay.
They're big on IOU territory, so they cover a lot of state with IOUs.
Which means that they don't discuss the difference between
No.
COUs and.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll hit topics that are, really high level. So, yeah, if we wanted to have that message, we would need to have a custom delivery, and we can always do that. I mean, that's our. bread and
Yeah.
butter.
You know, my thoughts when he'd first reach out to me, my thoughts were that, you know, I wanna keep as local as I can.
Yeah,
I mean, Pacific Northwest Power and the hydro system, what happens when a kilowatt's generated at Grand Coulee? How long does it take to get to your house?
yeah,
And just basic concepts about energy in that way and segue into EPUD and our history and our
Yeah.
beginnings and what public power is about. And
that's the kind of stuff we would want to develop ourselves, and I think we can. This would kind of be some foundational, just like safety and energy efficiency.
And teach them what a kilowatt is.
Yeah, but to get into like hydropower and the benefits, all that, that would be something we could put together.
And this is kind of like an opportunity to get our foot back in the door with the schools, because we have to kind of remove, we haven't had a relationship as much in the last few years, and so getting that going again, this is a great way to start that. But I agree, we can tailor some of this training, but then we can also provide additional that's
Mhm.
coming just from our employees and.
Yeah, great, look forward to it. We'll give it a shot and see where we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was you two that really brought this up, so I appreciate that. Great. Okay, a couple of quick things on franchise agreements. We have an agreement with Choctaw City that's up for renewal. They've been pinging me a little bit. We actually talked to them when we were out there about this. Actually, oh, excuse me, that was Coburg. Coburg's also coming out. We must have two. Is it Coburg and JC? Okay, so they're both coming up. One with the Junction City one. We have a template that we use from Crestwell that's a pretty good starting point. I'm trying to get some time with Chad, which is at a premium right now with everything else going on. But as soon as we can get that, we'll try to bring something in, probably in a month or two for y'all to take a look at. These agreements typically are 10 years. Often they lag though, or they'll go beyond that time period, and they're in effect at the prior version until we get something new in place.
Are they based on the population?
Well, there's certain provisions that are specific to each city,
Okay.
so they apply to what's in the city limits, and every city can set certain terms on how we operate. But generally, we're actually looking to us to say like, what is the agreement would like?
Right.
This is a lot of work to put these together, so we did a bunch of that when we put this Crestwell agreement back in 2017, I think is what we had, and it seems like it was in a good spot. So we're gonna try not to reinvent the wheel here. Something to work with them. There's a new one. This is exciting. The city of Eugene has asked for the same kind of agreement with us. We have about 300-ish customers that are within Eugene city limits, so they've come to us and asked for an agreement. Kelly's been working on that, and I think we have something that's based also on the Crestwell agreement. We'll probably want to bring that in also the next month or two to get buy-up on that. So that should be coming your way.
How much service territory does EWIP have that's outside of the urban growth boundary on the west side? You know, we know about the east side all the way up to McKenzie.
That's a good question because it turns into us pretty quickly there. I don't know.
After Beacon.
Doug stepped out.
They go past Green Hill quite a ways.
Not that far.
Just before the reservoir, so whatever that road is, it takes off, and then
Fisher.
Lane takes over. On the other side of the lake. Yeah. It goes
There's
down.
probably some, but it may be less than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lakes are kind of there.
We're all out there too. It's us, Blatchley, and Maine is go northwest. As a reminder, all the costs that are involved in this get directly assigned to these customers, so whichever city it is, and we make clear to them that this will all be going to their citizens and labeled as such. In Eugene's case, they're looking for all kinds of revenue sources they can find. It's this one that they felt like they were missing. Pleasant Hill out there, you may have seen this out your way. We're doing a big expansion out there. So we recently did excavation on that property, on Pleasant Hill substation site. We're gonna store vehicles and some other equipment out there in the near future. It was, pretty cool. We were able to do all the work in-house, so our, the folks you just talked about, were able to get out there and help, but we also have a tree trimmer who's got an excavation background, and he was able to did most of the actual foreman work out there, so it was pretty impressive. Credit to these guys, we didn't have to hire any of that out. This was them out there before it was going, and this is after what they got done with it, so. I think the plan is to put some lights out there next year,
Yeah, we're gonna put a,
you know.
kind of where the control house is in the upper, right in the middle of the page. We're gonna put a 40-foot pole, run a service over and a disconnect. Put some lights. We're gonna put a 24 by 48 building in there. That'll put our 95-foot bucket in there. Also probably 2 other machines to keep them out of the weather and also get them out of the yard. We need yard space pretty badly. So that'll keep them undercover. We'll put some lights in there for security. We'll face it west. So as not to have people looking at it and seeing things. So it'll be behind lock or behind gates. And I think Doug, you're gonna be it's not here. He's gonna be replacing some of the fence next year also, so we left him a good moat there for the water runoff. So yeah, it was done in 2 days, pretty quick.
Yeah.
We only had to get one guy to come in for like a day to help us get enough rock in there to. So we also were able to get the cost down by the neighbor wanted all the rest of the spoils. Took 90 loads last time and he wanted more, so.
Wow.
So opposed to going clear to Delta Sand and Gravel and paying. It's just right next to the substation. It's a rancher farmer there. That's, yeah. So anyways, worked out really well. So it's done right.
So this is all rock now?
Yeah, it's all rock. So we put 2 lifts, put a membrane in the bottom, matched the other one. And then I think it was 1.5 inches wide open on the bottom, and then got a compactor and then 3/4 minus from the last 6-inch lift. So it looks real good. We might do a little bit another section next year, but this is nice about, this is what happens when we have in-house pieces of equipment that can be used in
So
multiple
that's
ways.
super big as ours.
Yes, it is. So that's actually, that excavator is our mower that we use for mulching. So when I redid something a while back, we got a new head a couple of years ago. I spent a little bit more money and got the ESCO quick disconnect head. So then you can put attachments on there. So
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that we get.
It's not gonna be a pole building. Is that what you?
No, it's gonna be, kind of like the metal buildings.
Oh,
Yeah, so temporary metal, yeah, and it'll be anchored in 27 million spots and it was actually, I think it's engineered for a certain amount of wind. We really don't want it going over the fence into this bus substation.
All right, has Whopper training, that's apparently the name of this thing, so. Last week, we sent employees through hazardous waste handling. Dale, you got out of here just in time. It is known as HazWalker. I don't know why, but that's what it's called. It's covering emergency response PPE, et cetera, for waste handling. Our biggest area of need is oil containment transformers. Kudos to our team for getting a whole program together here. Our purchasing agent is really heading this up, getting this going for us. They had some pretty cool images from the training. So we had four guys went through this. 2 of them are certified to work anywhere. 2 of them are certified just to work on our property. It was a whole week long. It was a long process. And then we got some Breaking Bad style stuff going on here too. So kind of a cool thing for those guys to get done. We haven't had a formal program in a while, and it's nice to know that we are now in compliance.
I have a question. So the asbestos, which is taken to Short Mountain, any of our people have to like do any of this stuff with that stuff?
We deal with asbestos.
Yeah, I don't think that really the focus was on oil and spills and things that can get into waterways. So I think there's other, I mean, what we'll do too, if there is an incident, there are contractors we call in to like those Northwest hazmat folks, and they deal with things like asbestos.
So what we found out, if you don't have any kind of qualifications or training, you have no business even trying to touch it.
Yeah.
Like you see it and you can plug a hole in it, but like you could be out of compliance because you're not, it makes no sense at all. I understand that, but. So we just need to have a team that can handle
With some paperwork.
small spills and whatever. We'll still bring in Northwest Hazmat to make sure let them sign off on it.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Kyle? It
Yes.
stands for Hazardous Waste Operations and Emergency Response. The Whopper is the waste operations.
It's a real word.
It's a real thing.
As Whopper need Big Mac.
That's right. That's what comes to my mind. We already went through the head count request, so I'm all the way at the end here. Next board meeting is scheduled on all the way on November 18th, p.m.
Thanksgiving thinking.
At 3, I thought you guys were doing things at 4.
Next week, but.
Yeah, we can talk about that, so that might be a good time to bring that up.
Okay.
If this time works from our side, we're fine with it, 4 o'clock, it seems like that works better for your work schedule, so that'd be. topic for-
I have a chance to get here anyway.
Yeah,
I can always Zoom, but it's nice to see you guys person once in a while.
Yeah, I'm just fine with 3.
So we're gonna.
I thought you were doing it at 4.
that's the proposed would be to move our normal time to 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock.
Why?
Cause I work.
I'm good. I don't
It's 4
care.
o'clock.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it matters.
It's gonna be dark anyway soon, all the time.
Yeah, we won't get out quite as early, but I think we can keep most things still.
Whatever works for everybody.
Okay,
So there was a tentative meeting for next week.
that's my last point, and it's canceled,
Right.
so,
I
yeah.
assume that.
I think we'll be able to fit the contract approval into our normally scheduled meeting. We'll see how far they get for November, but definitely the December meeting, I think, is right before the deadline to get it done, so. If we need a new, separate meeting, we can do that, but the October 28th meeting, we'll take that off the calendar. And that's all I have. Finally gonna.
He's finally gonna do it.
Safety program.
Yes.
So what you just say, hey, it's later.
Well, I was gonna say, we only have 8 minutes.
Yeah, you got 8 minutes, Mark.
No,
What's that? You have 8 minutes.
That's not true. We can go longer.
Look, he's been waiting for
We're the
months for
talkers of the
this.
group, somebody might need to flag us, but
There you
there you go.
go.
Okay, so we just wanted to get back in front of you to give you another update on the safety program. Last time we did this, I believe, was in 2023, and we just started talking to you about some of the initiatives that we were doing in regards to safety. So it's just been a little while since we've talked to you about it, so we're just bringing this back up. Basically, we've always had a longstanding history of prioritizing safety. It's just that in 2022, we really wanted to put a focus on it and find ways to improve what we were doing. And then at that time, the leadership group decided that there were a couple things that we could really be focusing on. And that included improving our safety programs, better utilizing our safety committee, and then big focus on decreasing the number of incidents that we were having and the total cost of those claims that we were having. And so since then, we've continued to work on those initiatives, but one of the things that we've done is we've tried to expand it to be a little bit more specific. So as you can see on that last one, we used to just say improving safety programs. Now we've kind of targeted a little bit more specific areas. So now we're talking about, let's improve our safety related training, continue to utilize our safety committee. We want to collaborate with our workers' compensation insurance company, which is SAFE. And then again, that primary focus of decreasing our number of incidents and total claims. So we've just expanded this a little bit to be, to cover a little bit more, be a little bit more specific in what we're targeting. So we wanted to give you an update on those 4 things and where we're at. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and he's going to start with the safety training.
Okay, so in 2023, we decided we had a kind of a crossroads to talk about. Kyle was willing to throw at least a part-time employee at a safety person, much like we used to have with maybe have them be an EPUD employee, but we thought we could do something better and actually keep it in-house, save a little money and still get a good product. So we decided, what kind of
training topics would be covered each year as far as this company that we had called ESCI. And what I didn't like about them was the one size fits them. You know, it's like, yeah, you got, this is what we're gonna give you, and if you stick with us long enough, we'll get to all your stuff. And so it was really asinine. Some of it was, you know, and we're talking $2,400 every time they would show up. And so it was basic hand tool instructions was finally my last straw. Guys were looking at me like, what have you done to it? Right? This is the screwdriver. Anyway, so and you know, and most of the training was geared towards the outside crews and really nothing for any in-house people. We wanted it to be more of a overall approach for the company as best we can. So so now we've, you know, altered the approach, and the safety plan and the schedule is now designed by staff, which is, you know, we get some input from some of the linemen, some of the foremen, also from our safety committee. And they utilize, you know, trainers, which, you know, SMEs, if you will, for each thing, right? So instead of having ESCI thinking they can do a half-ass job on some of it, so. So for 2024 and 2025, the safety committee utilized the following specialized trainers. So include Eugene Police Department. We did active shooter, I think, so.
Protection, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
So couple training.
Yeah, well,
What's it called?
Active shooter, I
Okay.
think they had a different name for it, and then personal protect, like basically how to de-escalate, how to keep your, yeah, situational awareness.
we deal with, you know, angry people sometimes at times. So West State's fighting. So, you know, this is kind of it's kind of a hard thing to get certified. But anyway, so West State's did a great job doing that. National Fire, all these Baker Technical Institute is kind of just group we started using, and so they have different components. They're really a great outfit. They're a nonprofit. In the industry, they can do crane certifications, they can do all kinds of stuff. So we've used them, and we use them for pull top rescue, probably one of the most robust pull top rescue programs that you'll see. It's pretty amazing to see. Those guys first were like, holy cow, they really like it, but it's intense. It's a lot of adrenaline. We used to just kind of go full of the emotions, and now it's much more robust.
Rates of polls.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we also use SAFE. You know, we got Brian came in with SAFE, and you know, kind of came in hot and heavy. We kind of asked him to kind of like, hey, let's be collaborative on this, and we did, and listened. So, you know, we've also, with, you know, one of the couple things we did too was I tried to collaborate with to keep the costs down. I get Blashley Lane and Lane Electric, so I got a troubleshooting class coming up in November. So just finished a 2-year transformer training, and these are one of the trades that there's really no continuing education. It's kind of terrible that way. So with these transformer training classes, the teachers, you know, and there's also troubleshooting. It teaches, you know, these are a dangerous trade, and the more knowledge you have, the, you know, safer you're going to be, and also saves people money. You don't build a bank that's messed up and destroy $10,000 worth of, you know, components that we got to pay for. So anyways, so that's some of the stuff, and all that will transfer over into training. We also get with Blatchley, and then so we get it on a per head thing. So if it's like $10,000 training, I get Blatchley and Lane in there, it brings my cost down.
So, and they're on board.
But yeah, and they've been doing it with us. They did the
Good.
transformer training, and now they're gonna do troubleshooting training, so it's all good. So we also expanded some of the training to try to get it the in-house all of our people, including offices and employees. So we got heat and smoke that has to happen every year, the de-escalation that she talked about earlier, personal protection, active shooter. Hazardous chemicals, defensive driving, winter conditions, kind of helps everybody out when doing pool cars or in your own personal life. So the body mechanics, I think, went really well.
Both ergonomic
yeah.
workstation assessments
Yeah.
too, so each employee who wanted to could have an assessment done to see how to better set up their work desk or workstation. Yeah.
Yep, see if they're high or low or what they needed. So fall protection, and then also we also been really hitting hard with the mental health. I think maybe I brought that into play possibly with my mental illness. So we knew that it was an issue. Some of the other things too is, so the last 2 years, we've tried to take our committee from just being a body that meets in this room they would just, I think we talked about this before, they just read off the minutes and there was really no action items and there's really no follow through. So they became more, we made it very clear to them what we wanted. You're gonna own the safety of the company. This is your company and we want you to own the safety and be part of it. And so they want to be more impactful and covering more topics. So they became more organized and structured. The meetings became more robust. There was more questions and answers found. And the documentation and communication process, I really thank Wendy and Brandy for that and Alicia's team. They brought in HSI, which is an online deal to filling out an 801 or doing whatever. This was actually trackable. And then you can identify stuff, like we had a ground rod driver incident where, we shoved it in somebody's hand. You got a ground rod driver, you're trying to drive down and forget how far down you've gone. And it comes out, goes through your web of your hand. It's very painful. So, we bought an electric battery operated ground rod driver, that helps out when you get in that situation. It helps strains and sprains and all the things. So things like, we found out they would have some dents and dings on a trailer at times, and come to find out, the trailers that we had bought, the tongues need to be longer, so we get tongue extensions, right? So then that way you can make a tighter corner and stuff like that. So, and then, hey, get out and direct each other. Let's not stay in a cab. That's how you do things. So, but just getting direct involvement, creating a safety plan is what we wanted them. So part of that, we would work with the trainers. And so we have a pre-meeting that Alicia sets up. And so that we want to know what kind of content we want. We want to know what it's going to look like. And they'll say, hey, this is what we do. Is that what you want? I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's do a little bit more of this. And then they give us a rundown of and we also need, a place to have our computer, or we need to have a vault or something that we can get it set up for. So that way the training is as robust as possible. So, also the improvements was a very deep ownership, on the job incidents. So when we have an issue, we try to get on this HSI program, and then we would also have very quick turnaround, make it very clear that we wanted to have the incident looked at as quickly and while it's fresh in mind, even if it was something that somebody had to come in on a day off to complete that. And so we thought it was, and then we do it in that way, we could identify some of the preventive measures, everything from hydraulic presses and cutters that keep the strains and springs down, and large wire presses, things like that. So, yeah, and then the other thing that Alicia and her team did was they started coordinating safety drills that had to do with people inside. That was so great response. And then also emergency evacuation, fire drills and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at.
So who are the committee members and how often does it change?
So they come up, Alicia, or when you could maybe answer that, I think it's every 2 years. Every 2 years, yeah. We just went through, looked at everything. And then there's certain groups or certain people that are on there permanently. So,
Myself,
yeah.
our
Yeah.
line crew supervisor,
Perfect.
yeah,
That's what I wanted.
but there's solid representation all throughout the utility.
Yeah, in a couple of years, I mean, you'll have a big ownership.
You gotta have more staff than men.
Yeah.
So make sure.
And I'm not on it. I actually just, I found out I was a guest. It's kind of funny. First few months I.
But we
I
were
started
saying
running
that
the
too,
damn-
Mark.
Well, I started running the dang meeting to find out it was a damn job.
Just got on.
Yeah. Well, I just showed up.
And my next question is Safe charging us to come in and do these consulting, or is that
Yeah.
they're doing it free?
Yeah, and actually that's great segue. So one of the other things we want to cover is the SAFE partnership. So State Workers' Comp insurance company. We've been with them for years, and in the past, most of the relationship was, hey, we submit a claim and you give us some information about basic data on our workers' comp claim. There wasn't a lot in place. But one of the things that we realized is have a local rep here that we could be utilizing and working with on a number of things, including training. So we've been working with him over the last couple of years, and we've looked to have him come and attend our safety meetings almost on every month he's here. And again, no charge. He's here just kind of listening to how we are running the safety meetings, but what we're covering during those things when he's been there when we've had a couple discussions on any incidents that have happened to see how we work through them and how we identify what we could be doing differently. And then when he can, or if there's a need, he'll jump in and provide us, well, just so you know, OSHA requires this, and kind of provides that additional knowledge that really helps direct us in a good way as far as solutions and preventative measures. So that's been great. We also utilized him for the training that we were talking about earlier, that body mechanics, and he did the ergonomic assessments, which we had gone out and got pricing from other places, which would have cost us anything, basically. It would have cost us additional funds to do it, but with safety, it didn't cost us anything. We were able to have him come in, do the training and do the work assessments for us as well. Yeah. And then the other thing right now that we're working with him on is our hearing conservation program. We're trying to build and expand that. And so he's playing a part in that by going out and literally testing equipment, testing what our crews and other jobs are exposed to ensure that we're providing the proper training and protective equipment to those individuals when they're either doing those tasks or using that equipment. So we're working on that as well. Yeah.
So has anybody or any employee reached out, yes, and asked about their home workstation, the remote working area, or do we offer that?
Yeah, it is an option if we want to do that for somebody's at home workstation. We didn't have anybody take us up on it. We made it voluntary. We didn't force it. Yeah, so it is something that we could do. We didn't have anybody utilize it. But the way that he approached that is giving them training and information on proper ways to set up your station, so you can then take it home and apply it to your workstation there as well.
Something.
Yep. So. Yeah. Okay. And then let's talk about work-related incidents and claim costs. So again, this has been a focus of ours we had some really big dollars that we wanted to look at. How can we be reducing the cost? More importantly, how can we be reducing the number of incidents, right? The whole goal of all of this is to keep our employees safe. So we want to be looking at what can we be doing to prevent. So one of the things that we were doing is spending some time diving into the data. So SAFE has been a good resource for us, and WHA Insurance has provided some training and information for us on what all the numbers mean. Sarah, Kyle, and I spent a lot of time with them on top of working with SAFE to better understand what the numbers mean, but also where are the trends? What's happening? Like, are we seeing a lot of shoulder injuries? Okay, let's dig into that. If it is, what is there a common theme that is causing those injuries? Anything like that we can start to identify. And through that whole process, one of the things that we discovered is that the number of incidents that we have isn't a primary issue here. They said that given our industry, the number of incidents is what you would expect, okay, it's not an area of concern. However, where there was an area that we could be focusing on was getting employees back to work sooner. So if we had an injury, people were gone for a long time, that's part of the cost of the claim, is to cover those wages. And you'll see here in a minute, that was a lot. So we've been focusing on how can we get employees back to work as soon as possible. We don't want to rush anybody from healing process or anything, but we do want to make sure, is there a way that we can get them back to work? And that has also proven, they'll tell you, the sooner you can get somebody back to work, the more likely that they're going to stay in it working. The longer they're gone, they might not ever return. So it's a interest to both the employee and the employer to get them back to work as well. You'll see here 2023 and 2024 combined, the total amount that we spent for time away from work was $1,047, compared to in just 1 year, in 2021, we spent $93,725 in wages that are time lost, basically.
Still had some people
Big
that really
difference.
hurt.
That was pretty common, honestly, if you go back and look at our history.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so a couple graphs to kind of help paint a picture of what's been happening over the years. There have been years, like look at, you get 2016 is a good year, we had 12 injuries in that 1 year. And this is, just to clarify, this is a calendar year for these particular numbers. So 12 incidents in 1 year, 9 of those, that's what this orange line represents, 9 of those missed work. And sometimes that could be one claim could miss 1-2 days. In other cases, I believe, in one of these years, we had an employee who was gone for more than 3 months. So there's definitely opportunities for us to focus on how do we get them back to work. Here's another look at it, paid losses and time lost. So 2018, we had claim costs for $263,000. 93,000 of that was just for the time loss. 2021 is a good year to look at. The bulk of the cost of that claim was specific to time away. So here's another way of looking at it, percentage wise. So again, 2021, 76% of that, of our total claims, the cost was specific to that paid time loss. So we put our energy there. I mean, in multiple prong approach with all of our safety stuff, but we were trying to figure out if someone gets injured, is there a way for us to bring them back and work with whatever injury they have? Again, we're not asking that somebody do anything that's going to injure them further or cause discomfort or anything like that, but is there a way for us to work around and get other work done that maybe we might not have the ability to do? So as you can see, that's been paying off for us. You can see down here, right now, I will just tell you for 2025, you'll notice we don't have it up here because we haven't closed this out. This is all the information that we report to OSHA each year. 2025 hasn't closed out, but I can tell you right now that we've had 4 incidents, all very minor, dog bite, cut finger, and then a couple people had a back seize up while they were working. No days were missed for any of those in 2025, and the total cost right now of those claims is $341.
Yeah.
And that's the treatment, basically. That's like, I had to go see the doctor.
Is it still such a thing as light duty?
Yep,
I think
that's
there's
one
a-
of the, yeah, modified work or route transfer are the things that we focus on.
I think there was probably an old school way of looking at that, Kurt, is that, you know what, you come back when you're good and ready and you're ready for your job. So I think we've looked at that a lot differently now, right? We can find things that are meaningful, you know,
Right.
but maybe not what they want to do or whatever. We can at least get them off the books. And showing up to work every day is a positive thing.
To
It is.
most people.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
One other quick question, it's kind of opposite of, I suppose, pole rescue thing. Yeah, did you do any training on confined space?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know we're at the more underground, we
Yeah.
had, I don't know if
Yeah.
our vaults are big enough or not.
Some of the vaults are, yeah, and so,
So
yeah.
that's pretty important training.
We're doing a multi-year program on
Yeah.
confined spaces where we're doing a more intro, we just completed it this summer, right? And then we're looking at building on what we trained on in 2024 or 25, excuse me, and 2026, build on that and potentially do more of a hands-on training and potentially expand it to other utilities as well.
Yeah,
So we're working on that now.
Yeah, we may actually, if I find an old vault or something like that, I may actually bury it in the ground out here in our training yard and have it there.
Yeah, that's great. Just it's just the opposite of pole rescues, how to get somebody.
Out of a hole in the ground.
So what do you do, throw Jake in there and say,
Or how
what
to
do you
get
do
it
with
in there
that?
correctly so you can get it out.
I think one of the other things, I think that helped out here, Lisa and I worked on too, is getting our staff to be good advocates for themselves to the doctors. That's something we found out, you know, it's like, well, are you going to PT? Well, nobody's told me to. Ask, you know, yeah, I can't get in. Ask,
Do your own-
find something. So yeah, so that's really, really neat.
Okay, we're almost done. Claim costs. So, one of the things that comes into play with the total cost is our experience modifier, which basically is the rate used to calculate our workers' compensation premium. And all of the total cost of each of those claims impacts that experience modifier. And, just to show in the past, it's been as high as 2.17 in 2018. And that has dropped down to 1.11 for the 2025 policy year, which is the lowest it's been in 10 years. So we're also seeing improvements in that area. Quick little snapshot of what it's looked like over the years, but here we are here getting down to 1.11. One thing I will just mention is this is policy year for this particular part runs from July through June, whereas the information that we report to OSHA is a calendar year. So some of the numbers, if you have questions on that, let me know, but some of the numbers have to do with the difference in how the reporting happens as well. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of close it up. You know, it's just like hunting, you know, or fishing, you know, you make luck happen. I think
part of these things, I'm not gonna try to say that we've reinvented the wheel, but we're doing some wonderful things to try to make things better, make safety a priority, and all that, but, that's part of making the luck happen, is trying to make it first and foremost in their minds, getting good programs in place for them to think about that every day. So, and all that will reduce our workers' compensation costs and improve our safety culture, because, our leadership team, everybody here, foreman, everybody in the safety community put forth a really good effort. I'm really proud of that. And I didn't know it was gonna happen because I didn't know how much they were gonna get involved, but they really got behind us. It's wonderful. And, so, you always go with the why, and it's like everybody deserves to go home safe and healthy every day. And then that ends up, equating to everybody retiring as healthy and pain free as possible. That's the goal here. I think everybody deserves that. And then, 'cause I have some aches and pains, but I've got all my appendages since, 30 some years in doing it. So I'm pretty happy about that. But, there are lots of, 1 degree of separation between you and something very bad happening. So I'm not, but anyways, the last thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank you to Alicia and her team, Wendy and Brandy and everybody that gets and really compiles a lot of this stuff, goes into the weeds about it. We call it nerding out about safety, which I really appreciate. Kyle also, he's all in, all behind us all the time. When something like this happens, we have to put a price on safety. And then also for you guys at the board for passing money that we need to do some of these trainings and stuff like that.
I got one more question. Did you guys think about any kind of incentive program for the company wide by?
Yeah, we've talked, it's actually in the, we've talked about it, what is that? Cause there are places I've worked, you get if you win a whole year, you get a knife, or you get a mag light, flashlight. Something we can talk about, and it's been brought up. I don't know if we just gotten about that far yet.
No, there's caution on certain programs
Yeah.
because what could happen if it's not executed properly is it could just, people just stop reporting. And that's not what we wanna be. Right.
One guy, you got me.
Yeah, so it's not that we've completely abandoned that idea, but we would wanna, we haven't figured out what's the best way to utilize that without having unintended consequences.
Just a little burrito breakfast.
Yeah.
Go over the year, it's been a great year, guys, not so much.
Yeah, more
done.
recognition that.
Yeah,
it's-
more recognition, I guess.
We'll try to do more of that. Yeah, it's almost like the superstitious thing. I don't like to talk about this too
Yeah.
much.
Well, it's a great committee you guys got,
Yeah.
but it's also the employees that are making it.
We do try to
Yeah,
celebrate it, yeah.
Absolutely. What I'm hearing is elevated engagement and a lot of pride and ownership.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've got people that work here now that really want to take this seriously, and that hasn't always been the case, so. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't work here anymore.
Not-
He gave me the stink eye.
It's not speaking to anybody in particular.
Just staring me down.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, Gary. We're ready to move on to the next.
Yes.
Okay, well, Gary Smith is with us and he's gonna represent the Finance and Rates Committee. We've got some hard copies for you if you wanna come up and join us at the table.
I didn't see those two.
Yeah. Oh, okay, well, we tried to make it real easy on this, so it was. All easy out there. So got some bullet points for you. You're also welcome just to be very conversational and.
Terry, I told you, if you stay
Oh, yeah.
long enough, they're gonna put you in charge. of
I'm going to.
Geez, how long,
you again too, Kurt. Huh? Good to see you again too.
how long have you been on the committee?
Their daughter and my granddaughter were in preschool.
Oh, boy.
And my
Wow.
daughter is
2 years.
17 now. She's
wow.
now 17.
They're 17, but they were probably 5, and so probably 13 years. Let's, go around, I mean, I had, Joe Roddy sitting beside me and he goes, well, this ain't bad here, and I go, should have been here when I first started. It was pretty crazy.
I should note, we're gonna go slightly out of order here and have Carrie do their recommendation first. We weren't sure how the timing will work out here, so he'll give the recommendation and then we'll come back and give kind of a staff presentation about their proposal. So you're welcome to address the board however you want. We've given you some bullet points there, Carrie, but if you want to summarize kind of how you saw.
I figured I was gonna get myself out of this by saying, you guys all read the report, right? It's your question.
I actually watched the meeting.
Oh,
I
good.
said, wait, who's here? Who's come up with this? Committee report recommendations, district board, very high levels. Committee review. The budget proposal. EPA power transmission costs. That was one that was kind of confusing with me till I understood that. You guys just have like a switchboard out there buying and selling power, you don't have that.
We had a couple
of
of big changes on the power side. That was.
I always thought that was pretty basic.
Yeah.
Where he's buying and selling power. Like that, so. We got that one, figure out labor and non-union inflation costs. And that one there. Remember we talked about that, but it was like. I probably heard not ever used in here.
Well, that's always a topic of conversation, yeah, so that was a point the committee made, was you gotta make sure to protect that.
Yeah.
That's part of this too, so. Yeah, a lot of this was intro, and then we get to the proposal is kind of that last bullet on there, Carrie.
Down here, so there's stuff here.
You could, if you wanna read that or summarize it, it's up to you.
You want me not here quick?
No, however you wanna do it.
The committee favors consistent moderation, annual increases around 5% or less. To the balance reserve for the ability to be concerned about customers' reaction to the winter bills lead to a discussion about effective dates. Now some of the people around me, and I'm sitting there at the sun, and they're going, what are you talking about? I'm talking about winter solstice, summer solstice, putting that right there. In April, sticks is right when that sun starts coming back up, it's actually gonna heat. And it's always gonna do that. If we don't worry about a weather pattern, that sun's all there. Plus anybody's got the solar, that's when they're gonna start feeling the extra punch. So that, to me, that, and a lot of the people there, that's a perfect time to do the increase. Was that on April? And a few other people going for, I'm the only one that said about sun. I just knew the weather wasn't what you wanted to deal with, but that sun was always there and it just made a lot of sense. Okay, that was.
You said we spent the most time talking about the timing.
Timing
say,
of it, yeah.
Of the rate increase, right?
That went around and around.
Yeah, for those of you who listen, you know this, but I think there was a lot of discussion about this, January 1st or April 1st. And be more appropriate as you've all talked about as well. I think there were a couple compromises offered. There was a February date, but the majority of the group said April is probably the right
Yeah,
time.
I know that around my area.
Yeah.
People sitting next to me.
Yeah.
It had consistency in April.
Yeah, so yeah, that's.
I was just trying to nail down to. Can you go against the sun?
Yeah,
It's always gonna be there.
that's right.
I'm trying to get some leverage in there, so no, let's just get this one done and move on.
That's right. So yeah, Dale's point, the committee had a couple other recommendations that are on here. Carrie, if you want to talk to any of those, but one was, yeah, pick a date and stick with it basically. So going back and forth is not helpful. And then having a unified or a uniform increase over the years would be helpful if we can know what it's gonna be more or less. And they kind of said 4 to 5% sounds like that's about inflationary. And so that was sort of the takeaway I had, at least, was try to keep it that, but keep it the same if you can every year.
I think it is going without a rate increase for that amount of time is really. We all know how it works, but most of the people, and you hit me right now.
Mhm.
People just brought it up a little bit. Well, we discussed that all the way through there too.
Right.
But a little here, so that went around a few years back, but I think that part of it and the setting it at that date and coming through with the 5%. Everybody seemed to be okay with that and to run that through, but it's also talked about stabilizing. Can we stay at 5% with all the work that they go through, showing the payroll expenses, all these expenses coming through? It will help the people out there understand that 5%, or if we could fall back, but they did discuss that pretty heavily about how to cut it on out to 26, 27, 28.
Remember, we had 3%, 5%, 3%, 5%, depending on Bonneville. And the committee was, I think unanimous to say, well, we'd rather that just be a single number. So just smooth that out however you can. If that's 4%, great. If it's 5%, that's something we can live with as well.
So if you do get that bonus for the next year, then you can just stack that on and be able to help with the next year that might jump up past 5. But I think it's just gonna, we get the alternative energy, you guys are only dealing with one source. So it's really tough for that, in my mind is. I used to have a business and I had different sources and I'm getting like that source and with that source. You guys got one source. I keep telling Kyle, the batteries are coming. We'll get the batteries, then you might get to work. I also have a brother-in-law's nephew. Is a nuclear scientist. He's got his master's out. I sit down and talk to him, and people come up to me, he goes, "How can you talk to him? No one talks to Anton. He's just way out there." And I says, "Because I got the key. Used to be a state certified steam fitter mechanic. It allows me to install boilers. So I had to know everything about steam." And he said that was what they were lacking up there. I mean, everybody thinks of nuclear. All it is a heat source. And it's got to create the steam and turn the turbines, create the power. And that part we talked about, and I knew Canada was already putting them in the ground, but they're really close to just dropping these down in the vault and exchanging them out. In 25 years, pull it out, drop another one in. So all I'm saying is there is an alternative besides Bonneville coming. They're really working hard.
Been coming.
We're all 30
That's been
years.
coming for a long time.
We're all over.
Yeah.
You hit on another thing, Carrie, which was the 6% versus 5%. So the committee, they did lower the rate increase to 5% in their recommendation. I think we told them that's something we can live with. We'll talk about this after Carrie's done, but Sarah and I and Rob have talked about how we might plan for that. I think a lot of it's mitigated if we adopt this uniform rate increase idea of instead of 3.5 to 3.5, we just do 4s. That takes care of a lot of that actually. And then for 2026, I think we've got some things we can do on the expense side to limit the impact that we would see from that. So 5% from our perspective is okay.
Yeah, I just feel that what Kyle's doing, it's really tough. Because now he's just stuck with Bonneville. I mean, whatever
Yeah,
in addition out there, somebody else is over there going, well, we're gonna raise it at this price.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna go back to the old school way with you. So it's pretty tough on you guys to deal with it, the rest of us to make sure this whole place is running properly.
yeah, I think
When we gotta deal with,
you're gonna be stuck
Sure.
with someone. Bonneville's probably the one to be, but you're right. It's anybody's guess what the.
we're putting our future out to them and.
Yeah.
They could get all freaked out about the salmon, because after they took the dams out down in California, I like to fish, so I keep seeing these pictures. Look at that salmon coming all the way up
Yeah,
Plymouth. I gotta leave our dams alone.
it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. What was I didn't listen to the meeting, but our base rate versus the cost of power, that split, it seemed like this and you guys favored raising the
The basic.
basic rate.
Yeah, I think
More.
that was the consensus that was taken at the end,
Yeah.
was to do the higher basic charge increase. That would get us basically to where we wanted to be on the COSA when it was put together 5 years ago. Now, it's probably gone up some since
Wasn't
then.
the COSA like $42 then?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So we just caught up with ourselves
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty big jump.
it is. Yeah.
That's our biggest jump.
Yeah. So we've got a couple scenarios we'll go through with you this evening that show both the lower and the higher, but the committee felt like the basic charge was the way to go.
Yeah, just because we didn't charge before, right, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
It's still gonna run, everything's gonna run, but I wouldn't wanna be on a switchboard.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
I'll hear about it.
I mean, that does take away some of the volatility.
Yeah, revenue stability is a big part of that. That helps. We've made a lot of progress there, so it's really your call which way you want to go with that. We're pretty close to where we want to be.
Yeah, we were really hard at work, that's why we should have heard about April was to make this transition in the price that's coming out.
Yeah.
trying to look every advantage they have. January wasn't an advantage.
There were a few thoughts on the committee, a second opinion or a minority opinion, or four that voted for that February date. But they also, everything else they were in agreement with, so it was really just a timing thing. Well,
Wants to sign out?
I think we're supposed to do our public hearing now, Gary. Is there anything you want to share about the meeting or?
It's just great to see Charles again. I hadn't seen him for a while. Kurt, I hadn't seen him for years, but he's just sitting with me. I just told somebody they're gonna meet somebody that I did wedding glasses. Or was it your daughter? Or the canning jars.
No, we're not.
You don't remember that when you came down there with your wife?
Nope.
No,
That wasn't.
yeah, sure, yeah, that was for a wedding.
No,
You came down there for something.
maybe it was mine.
Like that, yeah.
No.
You don't got a daughter either, does it?
No.
No.
Take that theory out.
Yeah, one too many customers, but it was fun.
He's got a son,
Yeah.
but he drives a Tesla.
No, I always know that people that used to sit with me for breakfast all the time, but you get out a lot. I mean, occasionally we see, who's that? The guy from Gene Santa Gravel, isn't it?
There you go. Well, thank you for your service, Gary. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, glad you guys let me in here.
finally got your chance to come in.
Yeah,
I
I was okay till I see this, you gotta read this one.
I mean, it's just important me to get 30 more,
Yeah,
just input from abroad.
Input, yeah.
It's just,
I do think we had good engagement too across the entire group. So if you want to listen to that meeting, when you sent the link out, it's.
So I guess that's probably the main thing I can say to this group right here, is when I started, we didn't have a forum, so that's.
It was hard to get people to go.
To get them in there, and we were stuck over in a corner over here on a small table. Like, man, and but we had two groups back then too.
Yeah. Come a long
And
way.
it combined,
It has changed.
but it has, I was always complaining because it seemed to slow it down with two groups.
Mhm.
Where we just focused on one and they focused on theirs.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a benefit.
Yeah.
Cost saving, you get,
Yeah.
there to pay them once for food.
There you go. All right,
Thanks,
Gary,
Gary.
appreciate it.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in, Gary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
so we have to do something
Yeah,
for a public.
I think you probably should gavel in and out of the public hearing, so. We would, end this meeting and then gavel into a public hearing,
We'll adjourn the
adjourn.
board meeting. And
Open.
convene a public hearing for the 2026 budget.
We don't have anybody.
And great proposals.
We tried. Let's hear.
Well, thanks for your input, folks.
That news is good news.
Yep, so
We'll hear about it
the public hearing.
Okay.
and come back into our meeting. Okay.
It's a lot of government. All right,
Reconvene the board meeting.
good deal. So, I think what we'll do is, any other questions about the committee's input or whether that's pretty clear, okay? I think what we prepared is just, a version of what we saw before, but with the committee's recommendations. So, it'll be looking at our financial parameters from the 6% to the 5%. And then we'll look at the rate structure, both the higher and the basic, or the higher basic and the lower basic, assuming a 5%. You haven't seen those yet, so this will be an update of those. I'll let Sarah run through the if you like.
I guess before we get too far into this, did you already ask if anybody had any questions, just generally?
Oh, yeah, we can always address other things too, if you have things you can wonder. We should cover last time,
Budget.
budget or rates.
So do you have a projection of, so if we go to 5%?
Sure, yeah.
Changing 2027 to 5%.
Yeah, so just as a refresher, this was the staff recommendation from the original proposal, which includes 6% with the April 1 effective date for 2026, and then out year rate increases corresponding with the Bonneville rate increases. And so the next scenario was the Finance and Rates Committee recommendation, which dials 2026 down to 5%. Yeah,
Dallas points.
and then yeah, 27, 28, 29, to also to 5%. So, you know, getting us that consistent rate increase out in the future. So this scenario is amazing. In the out years, gets us into compliance with the days cash on hand from an operating standpoint.
We did look at 4% as well, I think, as a uniform number. Is that, okay, there you go.
There you go. So
That one also doesn't look bad.
yeah, it's great. And I guess for me, this is just, you know, what are some possibilities out in the future? The board doesn't have to decide on the out years. It is always nice for us to have a general target to aim for when we start, you know, practically tomorrow working
I
on
was
the
just gonna say.
2027 budget. You know, we like to have something to go on. So you know, it would be nice to know the board's feeling between kind of these more level rate increases, or if you like the corresponding with Bonneville idea.
So this, if we 5% for 26, and so then if we go 4% across the board, 27, 28, 29, you guys are happy with that?
That works for us, and it, you know, that's a starting point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to evaluate each year as it comes,
Yeah.
depending on,
No,
you
yeah,
know.
no,
what-
that's
but-
Almost storm season.
We might be able
Yeah.
to even go lower than that, we'll see, and there's a lot that goes into this as we talk about our capital plan next year and where we wanna be
Yeah.
4 or 5 years from now. Are we generating enough net income to pay for that on its own? Are we gonna continue to borrow? Those conversations will be productive, I think, that next year.
Might not be the worst idea to have a little extra money in the budget and a set aside fund for future capital or whatever.
Yeah, our storms.
We haven't
yeah.
really done kind of
We talked
before,
about
but
that.
you know, rather than go down to 4, leave it at 5 and take the extra money
Yeah.
and put it into a slush fund. Well, that's not the right word, but.
Right.
Put it
Definitely not the
Put it into a-
That's like fun.
put it into a savings for either
Yeah.
for storms or for capital down the road.
Yeah.
Storms.
This business
like
of
that,
borrowing
yeah.
$40 million over 4 or 5 years isn't my favorite thing to do.
No, I think we need to really look hard at how we're going to continue either at the current level of capital work or something less. Either way, we're gonna need some different funding mechanism.
Well, we're already relatively certain we're not gonna see another Bonneville rate increase for 2 more years
Yeah.
after this, correct?
Yeah,
So there's a savings of 1% or 2 there.
yeah, yeah, which allows us, I think, to take that down a little bit and do either a 4,
But
maybe,
maybe, like say, maybe advance
yeah,
rate basing some of our capital with.
take the excess, yeah.
So, none of this takes into consideration our short bound revenue.
We've left all that out. The only thing that's in here is some non-labor spend going down after 2026. But
It's kind of like FEMA, you wait till you see it.
yeah, right. We're definitely not counting on that until the papers are signed and the thing is built.
Yeah, that's.
But you're right, there's some other world out there where that happens
Right.
and we are in a different financial position. We'll have to talk about that.
We plan sometime in the future to have a memorial service for our FEMA money.
Well,
I'm not quite there
I heard
yet.
people actually got paid, they got 2 weeks ago, they got their money. It was a fraction of what we're trying to get, but they had luck, so I don't know. Yeah,
Where?
There's overseas.
we haven't given up yet.
Reach out to Scott Corwin,
I will, yeah, he's got connections there too.
that's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, no FEMA is in here, nor is any short mountain.
Yeah.
This is all April 1st going forward, so we've gotten rid of any of the January stuff. It's all of the.
April Fool,
Yeah.
raising your rates.
We'll manage the 5% this year without changing too much, other than our carryover numbers.
Yeah, I think the only, if you go back to that, or that's right, it's on here, sorry, the 5%. This one, yeah. The debt service is the only one that gets me maybe a little nervous. We haven't been quite that low in a while. I think there's still enough room there, but we also sat down yesterday and identified some areas that if things aren't going where we think they'll go, we could pull back on. So none of them would be great, but they're not things that would, kill us if we had to lose either.
Well, remember too, a big hit in a winter weather, I mean, a big hit in our winter needs is not our risk anymore,
Yeah.
so we can probably walk a little closer to the edge.
Yep. I think that the size of the rate stabilization fund is gonna be a topic to discuss. Do we still need a $4 million number there? Once we operate with this load following thing, I think we'll know. We still have weather related risk, if we don't see the kind of winter that we'd like, it's just gonna be less than we've seen before, so. I feel okay with even at 177 on debt service, I think we can manage that, especially with the rate stabilization number.
A quick question now, we have the credit line we haven't used, it takes another year till it matures, correct?
Correct.
And was it for 10 million? I don't remember.
8 million.
8 million.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough to nearly get us through a major storm all by
Yeah.
itself if worse came to worse.
Yeah, cash flow to me is not the major concern, at least for a couple of years. It's really debt service. So if it's a storm, it's all gonna be capital. That's not really gonna be a debt coverage thing. It would really just be a power supply shock or some kind of.
Unforeseen
Yeah,
black swan event.
yeah, something we can't even foresee.
Chinese dropping drones on us.
Could be, yeah. So
When you say our debt service coverage hasn't been this low for a while, it's still significantly higher than our threshold.
it is. That's just one though, I think I told the committee this, it's like, if that ever gets close, it's like DEFCON 5. So I'm always very hyper about debt service coverage. That's why we increased the rate stabilization fund. That's why we developed the conservative budgeting over the years. And now that we don't have that budget conservatism, running this close it just makes me a little nervous. Yeah, we have plenty of room there, but I'd like to see how the load following plays out before I get real comfortable at that level.
Makes sense.
And I think that the Moody's of the world, they'd like to see that over 200 generally. That's a number we showed them that they were comfortable with. So we'll run a little lower. That's not the end of the world. We can manage through that. But you do want to see it increasing over the years, and that's what we got here with these rate increases. So it's a good trend.
Well, it looks like we might be a little behind where we want to be this year, but if we go the other way next year and on,
Yeah, I think that's right.
need to kind of manage for that, put a little bit of risk management into our numbers. But like I say, with the stabilization fund and the loan, we've still got $12 million available to us if we need it.
Yeah.
That's 20% it's 20% of our budget
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a pretty good pad right there.
I think we've given ourselves a lot of runway here. We're gonna have to ask some decisions about 2029 and how we fund capital work. That's gonna be the real big question. Without borrowing, do we have enough in our O&M budget? Are we generating enough cash to be able to pay for the level of capital that we want to do? That's a good conversation. We should have that next year.
Well, with capital improving, theoretically, our O&M costs should go down over time as being offset by the capital improvements.
Yeah.
We don't need as much care in the short term.
I think that's probably.
That's what we tell the bank, at least in agriculture.
Yeah, overtime's less. I think our guys would tell you it's less. They don't get the overtime that they used to,
Yeah.
except you have a, act of God kind of thing, and then it's all in some day.
But what do they care if they're making the money doing capital work or doing O&M work, either way?
That's true, yeah.
You know,
But we'll have, I think, plenty to talk about on that front. We've got some time to do it now with the borrowing that we just did. But I think your idea is smart. Maybe we do start building up a little bit more to prepare for
I
that.
don't know if reserve is the right word, but just pre-funding the
Yeah.
ability to pay for some capital down the road out of
Really,
operation.
to me, it's about what amount of cash is the business generating? Right now, we've kind of cut our net income down to about a $5 million level, which is not enough to pay for a capital program. Whereas I think if we do these levels of rate increase, that's gonna be a lot closer to like a $10 million level. That gets us closer. It's still not where we want to be in terms of total capital if we spend at the current levels, but it gets us a lot closer to a self-sustaining program.
That's a discussion we can have in,
Yeah.
winter, fall of 28.
Yeah. Well, even before then, I think there's some levers we're gonna wanna think about, if we wanna pull back on capital a little bit. We've been doing.
Don't tell Doug.
Well, we've been doing historic levels of capital spending.
Yeah.
You remember,
That was-
5 years ago, we were spending half of what we do today. Probably was lower than that before that, so.
It was.
We always, we looked at that as a bump up to make a big push and then kind of settle it at some point. We haven't settled yet. At some point, we probably should, and we need to figure out where that level is. And what can our O&M budget support as a big part of that too.
The more you fix something, the more everything else looks like crap. You have to fix more stuff to
Yeah.
make it stay even.
Lack of-
That's what I do in my house.
I fixed up an old house, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
So our,
Black hole.
with these changes, would it be proportional on our basic charges?
Oh, yeah.
How does that?
Yeah, why don't we go into that? That's the last piece of this. Rob's got some slides on it.
Well, I think Rob was gonna be today.
Come on up, Rob, you've been waiting.
Focused on just the recommendation that came out of the Finance and Rates Committee, which they did talk more about the higher basic charge option. I brought up the model that has a lower basic charge option, but I don't have those slides in here. So so this is what their proposal was. Their recommendation was a $44 basic charge, so that's a $5 increase from where it is today. No increase at all on the, well, I'm sorry, a small increase on the residential energy rate, but all the other energy rates would stay flat. So you can see overall, I mean, we like putting this one in here just because this is basically a total distillation of our rate schedules. But just to highlight, 5% rate increase for the residential customers. It's about a 9% increase for irrigators, 5% for industrial and commercial, and then overall it's 5%.
It was a dollar less than the last proposal.
Right.
So,
Right.
okay, under the 6% rate increase, it was a $6 increase on the basic charge. Now it's a $5 increase on the basic charge. So
Yeah.
it just worked out that way that it's a dollar.
Overall, like mechanically, it's pretty simple. It's a $5 rating or basic charge increase, 1.75% increase to the energy rates for residential customers, and then the 20% demand rate increase. So that gets us really close to the COSA target from 2020. So that was about $45, and so it puts us 2.5% off of that number. And then the other target, goal out of the COSA was to really increase our demand rates, and this aligns really well with the start of the load following contract because that's a huge component of our Bonneville rates going forward, bills going forward. So I that's why I tried to load it the commercial and industrial rates more on the demand because the value of capacity versus on the energy. This is the impact to the 5% versus 6%. And last time we looked at this chart, comparing all the other utilities, we're about 157.19. So it takes it down to 155.67. I also make the adjustment to the UWeb bill. They just implemented a 2.7% Bonneville adjustment in October. So this is their 2026 number is a little bit more accurate than the last time we heard this. Yeah, it's higher.
So they don't even ask the board when they do that now. It's in policy. So anytime Bonneville raises rates, they just pass it through your customers without any discussion. That's one way to go. I don't think it's right.
Again, this is the comparison of all the basic charges. We're at 39. The Finance and Rates Committee recommendation was to go to $5 higher. Up there. And again, I like sharing this chart because it emphasizes the importance of the basic charge increase to really stabilize our revenue. We get a lot more of the revenue from our basic charge in this scenario than the energy rates and the demand rates. So that helps kind of hedge against weather risk. So the alternative recommendation there is it's like do a half. You can half the basic charge then to maybe 250. You need a higher energy rate increase, obviously, and you need to increase the energy rates for all the other customers too, the C&I customers, the irrigators. You can do it with a smaller demand rate increase, but it changes things a little bit, and you definitely are putting more of the revenue requirement onto these consumption billing determinants, right? The usage and the demand, the stuff that's impacted by weather. So there's that trade-off.
It's a double-edged sword, though.
Yeah,
It can be impacted the other way, the positive way.
yeah, no, for sure, yeah,
It's just more volatile.
yeah, definitely. Just adds a little bit more stability.
Yeah, I think you know where I stand. We've steadily increased our basic rate and I've supported that. I just think
Yeah.
$5 is too big of a bite.
Yeah, what would it be? Do you have the numbers you can read out?
I mean, $3, I could live with $3.
Yeah, we can run that.
What would the residential?
Well, it also takes, it doesn't incentivize conservation. When you put it on the rate,
They're small.
the customer can shave their bill by doing conservation. They
Yeah.
can't do shit about that. I mean,
That's the argument against it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's a small margin, it's not a lot of difference, but you're right.
Well, an argument for it is the COSIS shows that that's closer to where it needs to be all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's covering basic expenses to keep the line inflation hanging off your
Yeah.
house. So I say we go with the higher base rate.
And that's what I was thinking too, because but is this gonna be just keep it at 44 for the next few years then,
Who knows?
We'll see, I think,
hopefully?
we'll probably we'll have a completed COSA next time we're talking about all of this.
Okay.
It's updated and it's got all of our 2026 numbers in it,
Sure.
or all of 2025. Not audited actuals, but a lot of the actuals will be in there, so we'll have a really fresh look at this, the next time we're talking about rate design. That would be probably our goal.
Yep.
We've
Good goal.
we've gotten pretty up there and I would imagine that it's gonna conclude that we're close, but we'll see what it says.
You had another chart earlier that showed a $3 basic increase in.
Yeah, I think the last time we were in here, we talked about that we had the two options. And those still exist,
I think we put them in the packet, actually, wasn't it 4150?
4150.
So on the residential side, if you wanted to split
Yes.
the difference, it would be a 4150 basic charge instead of 44.
Right,
The energy rate's what?
it's 8.81 cents versus 8.59 cents, so they're real small differences.
So that,
So when you increase the basic rate. I don't know how many there are, but the multimeter, do those go up?
yeah,
Yeah, they go up by the same exact amounts. They've already gotten their percentage, their discount, basically.
they're always $14 less than whatever the current basic charge is.
That's another thing we'll look at again, if that amount makes sense.
That goes,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah,
People were upset.
yeah, it was a good gesture.
It doesn't really affect this except the people that option to have their meters read. I asked Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
To have us look at that, what it costs us and charge them that. I don't think we ought to subsidize when people have a choice. If they want their meter read, if it costs $43 a month, that's what they pay.
Yeah.
So it's mileage, it's like.
We
That's their.
We did it originally,
it's a
yeah.
choice.
like $10, wasn't
Get
it?
it.
The basic rate is doesn't just cover what it
The
costs.
meter
to
read,
read
it's
that
more.
meter, though.
Yeah, we
Everything
charge
else.
$12.50 a month.
Yeah, I think the history there, the original analysis many years ago was it was like $25, I think, and then the board decided to cut that in half. So it was, there was a lot of folks in that position. We didn't know how many would continue to choose that service, but
Well, I remember doing it. I'm the one who
We
did the
redid
extension.
it, so it did get recommended the 1250. And then I think it was 2 years ago, Dale was actually,
Yeah, we did it. I tried,
Did it,
I
we
drove
did it.
slow,
yeah,
but
And it-
that's what it come out to.
we assessed it and we actually ended up lowering it to $10 a month. Based on.
Oh, I
the
just
amount.
wanted.
Just the
Yeah.
meter reading.
yeah.
Just the meter reading.
We're charging that in addition to the basic.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
$12.50 a month, I don't know if that's, I don't know, if one's in no time, one's in,
We did it all across the board.
Yeah, we try to be as efficient
I
as we
mean, if that's what
can.
it is, that's fine, I
Yeah.
just wanna make sure.
The staff that does that also does like locating some other things too, but I don't know.
No, we're
When we did it,
really diligent about
that's just
making
on
sure
the-
we're tracking the time
Yeah.
in which it takes to
When
just
we
read
did it,
those.
that's all I did.
Yeah, okay.
Straight there.
Yeah.
And.
We can always take another look at that for sure, but at least as of 2 years ago, it was still pretty active. I know Central Link is way up there, mainly because they've had so many people stop doing that. I think there's as high as $75 now, so.
what?
To manually read the
To
meter.
be opt out.
How they dealt with the squawking.
I don't know how their board's gonna feel, I guess they just basically
I don't
said,
mean the board, I mean the people who are paying the $75.
oh,
For in there.
Thinking about,
Well, I would think they have people with pitchforks at the meetings.
yeah, I don't know.
Not if it's gonna save your life, it's not.
It's an important thing. that
That's what
folks
they
have
think's
to do.
happening.
how many people do we have that want their meters read?
Did you say
Maybe
80?
180.
One
I don't
eighty,
remember the exact
Yeah.
number.
so
right
somewhere
now.
under 200 though.
It's under
Oh, 180. Oh,
180, yeah.
oh, I thought it was 80.
So 1.5 pound out of 1,000.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things, like, it's not necessarily hurting anything, as long as they're paying their fair share. We have
That's all
super
I'm
strict
asking
about
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
And what, if the house sells or anything, the new ratepayer has no choice, right? It goes automatic. If you have a new ratepayer that takes over, it goes to an automatic read, then.
It goes to AMI metering unless they make the request opt out, and then they go through the whole process that prior customer did.
I would imagine that other utility has meter readers and that's all they do. Then it would be real high. But if you do other things.
Yeah.
It changes it, locates, help,
We're
whatever.
gonna hire a meter reader for 180 meters.
Well, a lot of times they have their servicemen
Oh.
reading in meters, so there is a
Talk about
direct comparison.
overqualified for the job.
We finally found a job.
Get a brain surgeon to fix your dog.
Tell Barry's gotta do that.
So, we can prepare both scenarios for you. I know it's a long time between now and November 18th, so. Want to continue to think about which scenario you'd like to do, or if, I don't know, if 5% is the right number, if that's something you're comfortable with. You can prepare it at that level for April 1st, and then either a high or low basic charge scenario. Kind of depends on what you're.
I made up my mind, but for what it's worth.
I'm comfortable with the 5%.
Okay.
I mean, you know, when we looked at all of this initially, you said that we could probably do 5%.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's still true, especially as we talk about maybe out years being a little more uniform about things.
I'm good with 5%.
I think that's, and I think that, I mean, if people concerned with the basic rate going up, said, well, if you know, Bonneville went up 2.5%.
Right.
You're not paying. I
Right,
mean, you're not paying.
Right.
Because your electrical rate, this is for residential, stay the same, so
exactly.
part of that $5.
That's not actually true. It's now, you're just shifting numbers around there.
Yeah, but
I mean, the increase is there, they're gonna pay it one way or the other. And so for me, the $5 is just that's attention getting. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's good arguments on both. We're pretty well there, y'all would rather split it, that's totally doable.
So am I hearing that, Charles, you are against the $5 increase on the basic charge?
Yeah, I think it should be $3 maybe, maybe I could live.
I see.
That's the biggest jump we've ever taken in. the
I know,
basic
that's what I'm thinking. I'm already hearing people calling me.
Wasn't there an $11 jump?
At once,
Yeah,
I can't remember that.
There was a big one.
I think I was looking back at that when you said that earlier, and I think it was like the first time we looked at this. I don't remember that.
It must have been over 10 years ago.
So in 2015, it was $20, and then in 2020, it went to $31. I think that was.
Yeah.
I think
Was that all-
2015.
was that all at once?
I think we were messing with basic charges. We did an increase between 15 and then,
Okay.
that might have just been the records. We never did.
Well, the problem is, if we're gonna go for
Was it
the
all
cost of service number, $45, and then we get here, sitting here next year and we're way below.
Yeah,
We're going up to 6 or 7.
I think when we first started down this road, you know, I supported it because I wanted to be able to do it gradually. Just every year, step it a little bit. And we're well within range of it now.
Yeah.
And that was the goal 6-7 years ago.
We could talk about doing another $2.50 next year, right? Depending on what comes out of the coast, that they can do it incrementally, just like we've done a little bit at a time.
I just hate to get people's attention with that big jump.
Yeah,
You're my voting.
it's not a bad point.
so what if you make it like $44 or something? How much would that add to our power rate?
Well, going to 44, if we do a $5 increase, it's 30.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, it's
$4.
right, so 43.
Cause I think with our.
I think it's really-
What is
Yeah.
it, $1 times?
Isn't it 31.50 now?
39.
The dollar.
39. Yeah, I never
39.
remember.
If you go to
42.50,
42.50, it would be, or 41.50, sorry, it would be a 4.4% rate increase for the energy rate versus 1.75. So it's really small differences between the two to shift them. So if you were avoiding, if you want to avoid the phone call or. any sort of-
Yeah, cause I don't think people notice the energy rate,
Right.
especially
that's
they do the
all-
basic charge.
I agree.
I can't.
Yeah, and implementing it in April, you're less likely to get high bills
Mhm.
on that usage rate increase.
Like,
So that 1.75% number becomes 4.4%. It's gonna have to go up a little bit higher.
Goes from 8.5 to 8.8.
And we'll have all these
Wouldn't be
numbers.
quite that much if we're gonna go $4 instead of $5.
Right, it could be somewhere in the middle there.
With some more $4.
Four,
Agree.
250.
Whatever we don't do this year, we're gonna do next year, so.
To some degree.
Silence over here.
I'd say put it as close to the coast as possible. I disagree, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We're gonna get the money one way or the other.
Yeah, I'll go with 4.
I say 5.
Jeez.
I did.
We can bring.
I'm fine with 5. But I'm not gonna fight everybody. We're like, say, we're gonna get the money either way. I don't think it makes much difference.
Is that a third four? All right, I have 3 4s.
4 it is, close enough.
All right.
6.
If you had changed your mind, we got almost a month, so.
Yeah. I'll do that, lots of people out there, but we'll probably bring in. $4.
I think so.
I have one more thing when you're done.
Just to summarize, 5% rate increase April 1st, and we'll do a $4 basic charge increase, make up the rest of
And we'll
it.
just adjust everything else from there.
There's one thing of the irrigation accounts, it's a bit of an irritant. Doesn't matter to anybody but me, but I'll just make everybody aware of it in the meeting. For pumps that don't get used in a given year, let's say you don't need irrigation that year, you pay the base charge for 6 months during the summer, which is fine. But then you get an upcharge for power you didn't buy or didn't use at the end of the year, so you're actually paying for phantom power. It's a little,
Charge.
yeah, well, it's an upcharge. I forget what it is. It costs $200 or $300 for a small pump that you don't use a year for power you never
Yeah.
bought.
Versus if you use power, it would just be.
You pay the base rate every month,
Right,
plus the power usage, right?
right.
But if you use zero power that year, they charge you in November or December for power you never got. They upcharge a phantom power amount that you didn't buy. I think that's a little bit of a pain.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound
It's
right.
been that way for a long time.
I think, yeah.
If you don't use a minimum amount of kilowatts, you get charged for kilowatts anyway, that's what I'm saying.
You get that minimum amount.
That's something that needs to be
I don't know if we
future, I think.
dove into that.
I don't think anybody notices it, because only irrigators know about it.
Right.
It could be something we can look at with the COSA though and see if that.
Well, I think it's something that needs, if the base charge is high enough to cover the
Yeah.
base charge, and that's all you should pay if you're not using any power.
Yeah.
So is it a take or pay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Really?
If you use 0 kilowatt hours, you get billed for phantom kilowatt
So
hours
what,
anyway.
so what point, what usage does it stop it in?
I can't tell you the number, it's in the billing, right, it's in the rate.
I think some of that came out of the fact that irrigation was being subsidized by the other rate classes for a lot.
Well, that's all fine, but if the base charge was high enough as it should be, then it shouldn't be
It seems a
necessary.
lot less straightforward than what we could do if we just used the base.
It's not normal with other things, the base charge ought to just be enough to cover it, in my opinion.
Or charge it year round, did it used to get charged year round?
Never been, it used to be in the old days, you called when you needed the pump and they
Right.
started charging you the base charge.
At that
Then you called when you were done. So if you needed a water starting June 1, you call up June 1, say, okay, I turn on these pumps. You start getting a base charge rate. Goes for June, July, August, till you call again and then they shut the base charge off.
Okay.
That's how it used to be. Now they charge it to you, I believe, for 6 straight
9
months.
months, yeah.
April 1 through October 30th, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
I'm just proposing that it'd be nice to just put it all in the base charge and not.
Yeah, we'll take a, have a takeaway to look at that.
Not a major issue, but it is kind of a weird
Is
thing.
that like a demand?
No, it's not demand.
Yeah,
It's an upcharge for. It's a-
Penalty for not using power.
It's a way to get more
It's a
base charge
minimum-
out of pumps and
minimum
not lose
charge,
any
yeah.
usage.
It's kind of a relic of our rate schedule.
Well, and if the base charge was the right amount, it shouldn't be necessary.
Yeah.
It should be covering the fixed charge even though you're not using your kilowatts.
There's no reason why you can't increase the irrigation base charge to whatever you want.
Yeah, I think that's probably the more logical. We'll look at it. Maybe there's some reason we can find that we did it that way, but it sounds to me like.
It's just old paperwork. It's just, I thought I'd make mention of it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
But it should be fair.
Most pumps we have get used every year, but we have 3 that don't, have not used in quite a while.
I don't mind paying the base charge for them, but it's
Yeah.
just simpler if it didn't have to mess with that other crap.
Okay, we'll take that and come back with some kind of proposal.
It's nothing you have to do this budget year or nothing, but for the future, it might be something to look at.
I'm not doing on our list of questions for our
Sure.
Right list.
All right,
Hey,
good discussion. Thank you all for working through this with us.
We're all now?
When it comes to it.
They're done. Yeah, well,
We have one more thing I need.
I'll be up there, grab the gavel.
Great, thank you.
consent agenda.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Yes.
Let's do that.
We're almost done, if we can.
Hey.
We're like 5 minutes from being done.
that's a big no.
I got that, Dale, I got that.
You're the boss.
If you're anything for Patty, this is your chance.
Not ready, Patty.
I think it'll take like 2 minutes.
Jump up and run out again. Weirdos.
The only thing on the consent agenda is the 2026 board calendar is on there, so I would review that at some point when you have a chance and let us know if you have other things you want to add to it later.
You will send those invites out till December.
Or next year.
Then the approval of claims, so is there a motion consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Order and contract approvals.
We have none of those tonight, although we did put this under 15A, so this could have been either one, I guess, but if you're okay moving to 15A.
Yes.
All right, resolution 2025-26 is simply a more formal way of going on record that we want to move forward on the Bonneville contract. You gave me permission to sign that last go around. I did so. They sent it back to us in record time. We got it in 2 days. So we are under contract, but for the record, for history, we wanted you to pass an actual resolution. So that's what this is.
Make a-
We approve resolution 2025-26.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Our future.
Now we're legal.
Future customers will be able to now reference what we do.
Review of motions and actions items.
To approve the consent agenda, that is unanimously approved. And then a motion to approve resolution 2025-26, authorizing the GM to execute the provider of choice power sales agreement with BPA. That was unanimously approved.
That's
Thank you. Any public comment?
Still
Suggested items for future meetings.
Or potty breaks.
we should have fit one in. I'm sorry.
Right along here. Upcoming meetings, food is this Thursday. 8:30. PPC. It's the 5th and 6th, and PNUC is this,
Don't forget I'll COU meeting on the 6th as well.
that's what, is that on the 6th?
Yep.
Do we have to register for the annual meeting?
Yeah, there's a link. If you don't have it, we can send it to you.
Hope I saw that. See the.
Yeah, I was in your flyer.
They sent it in a PDF. And you click on a link in the PDF. It's kind of strange.
Well, I must have it in my mailbox.
Yeah, from Ellie.
Yeah, we're talking about the second meeting. Yeah,
Would be bad.
yeah, if I can't find it, I'll let you know.
They're just flapping their gums.
All right.
Adjourn.
Oh, directors, including comments.
None.
None.
Love you all. Thank you. All right.